Hello and welcome to Monday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. And today we've got a puzzle that's the creation of Quarter Through, who's featured on the channel a few times before. And he's obviously been channeling his enormous midichlorian count because he's managed to create this Sudoku shaped like the helmet of the Mandalorian, which is absolutely brilliant. I love these ideas that sort of mix popular culture with Sudoku setting. And the testing reports on this are that it's a brilliant puzzle. So I'm looking forward to trying it. In fact, Mark sent me two versions of it. He sent me this one where you can see he's done the arrow in black and with grey, I think to showcase the helmet that the Mandalorian wears really clearly, and also this one which I'll probably solve on, where I've got less shading and less dark arrows, just so that when I pencil mark along the arrow, presumably it's less obstructive. Anyway, we'll take a look at this in a moment. A few things to mention first. I hope you enjoyed Mark's video last night to celebrate and commemorate Tolkien Day, and my attempted narration of Tolkien's poem about the One Ring. That was quite interesting to record. But yeah, be interested in your thoughts. Do I have a career in voiceovers? I doubt it. Do have a look at our new Killer Sudoku app. It's going great guns, and obviously the puzzles in it are second to none. I can say that with confidence because of the people who constructed the puzzles for the app. They are just absolutely top notch, and all sorts going on over on our Patreon page as well. We've got the over 3 hour long video on how to solve Tracking the Cryptid, last month's Sudoku puzzle hunt, and we've also got January's bonus reward puzzle, which I think Mark's going to be reading out the names of the correct solvers. So if you do manage to solve that puzzle, it's not too difficult this month, then do send us an email at crackingthecryptic@gmail.com and you might get your name read out by Mr. Goodliff later on. Now, what are the rules of Quarter Through's puzzles? Let me read them to you. Oh, I'm getting WhatsApped. Oh, and voice messages by WhatsApp. Oh, that's always a worry. Anyway, let's not worry ourselves. Let's do Sudoku. Keep the worry out of our lives. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits sum to the small clue in the upper left corner of the cage. Nothing about digits having to be Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So there's nothing here about digits needing to be different in each cage, because that rule is not necessary, because each cage, look, occupies entirely its own row or column. So obviously all of the digits in that cage have to be different anyway by the rules of normal Sudoku. Now, two cells separated by an X must sum to 10, and two cells separated by a V must sum to 5. Okay, so you can see we've got lots of dominoes in the grid. So what we're being told here is that these two cells sum up to 10, those two cells sum up to 5. Not all XV clues are shown, which means that, let's find a domino without an X or a V. That means this domino here could absolutely add up to 10 or 5. It doesn't need to have an X or a V in order to add up to 10 or 5. It's just that we know that there's a positive constraint in the sense that that one absolutely does have to add up to 5. This one absolutely does have to add up to 10. And finally, we've got the Mandalorian's helmet. So we've got digits on the arrow sum to the number in the oval, read from top to bottom. Okay, so I think that means that this will be the tens digit and this will be the ones digit. So if we had, 57, well, that's how we would read this. We would read it as 57, and therefore all of the cells on this immensely long arrow would have to add up to 57. So do have a go. The way to play, of course, is to click the link under the video, and with that I get to play. Let's get cracking. And now I suppose we start with the helmet, do we? Let's have a look at this. So I think there's two ways we can approach this. We'll try and find minimum, and then we'll try and find maximum. So what's the minimum number we could possibly put on the line, the arrow line? So we could put 1, 2, 3 and 4 in this column, because all the digits would have to be different. So that's 10. You could make those two different. So that's another 1 and 2. That would be another 3. So we've got 13 so far. We could make these 1, 2 and 3, I think. That's 19. 5 in this column, so the minimum we could make these would be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, which is 15. So 15 and 19 is 34 plus, well, I guess that could be a 1. So I think 35 is the minimum, which means that square has to be at least 3. Now the maximum, I've got a bad feeling about this, which is quite a good Star Wars line actually, but I've got a bad feeling about this because, yeah, I mean, these 4 squares could be 6, 7, 8 and 9, which is 30. These could be 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, which would be 35. I suppose there's some V's interrupting that. Let's not worry about the V's. Let's just try and work out what the maximum is and see if it's interesting. So we've got 30, 65, put another 9 there, that's 74. We could make those 8 and 9, but for the V here, 74 plus 17 is 91, and then we've got another 24. We could put 7, 8 and 9 down there, so that's 115. So we've got 115, which is going to be tempered slightly by the fact this square can't be too high, this square can't be too high, and this square can't be too high. But what we can say with absolute assurance is that this can be a very large number. It can certainly be a number in the 90s at least. So this means this was a complete red herring, and we've not got anywhere, I'm afraid, because that digit there, you can see the software even doesn't want me to pencil mark it, because it's all the digits are possible virtually apart from 1 and 2. So that's not how to solve this puzzle. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the other version of the puzzle in order to make it look like I didn't even think about that. We'll just remember this is a lot of different digits. Now, let's have a look at the cages then. The cages might be better. So we've got... Well, it looks like we've got X's and V's interrupting... I've had one sensible thought. Look, the 12 cage, which there's normally 3 ways of making 12 in 2 digits. You could have 5, 7, 4, 8 and 3, 9. Well, here 5, 7 isn't possible because you can't put a 5 in either of those squares, because rather cunningly, quarter through has made each of these squares linked by an X to another cell. So if we put a 5 in either of them, we'll have to put another 5 in, and that most certainly won't work. So this is either 4, 8 or 3, 9. Now that then has to be in a domino adding up to 10, so this is either 1, 2 or 6, 7, all of which are possible within an 8 cage, which is a bit annoying, and this is either 1, 7 or 2, 6 as well then. Oh, okay, but the V clue helps us out a little bit, because we can't obviously put 6 or 7 into this square, because then this square will have to be -1 or -2, which is impossible. So that's 6 or 7, which means this isn't 1 or 2, which means this isn't 8 or 9, which means this isn't 3 or 4. And we get a little restriction, that's 3 or 4. 3, 4 pair in the column. That's a 1 or 2, look. And can we go further than that? If we know there's a 3 or a 4 in a 26 cage, that's not enough. Oh, sorry about this. What am I missing here? What am I missing here? How do you start this puzzle? We must have to... 3, 4... 3 and the 4 I don't think they do enough work. Maybe we've got to actually step back from the puzzle a bit, and rather than try and zero in on the exact composition of particular cells, maybe I need to use the fact that I've got loads of X's and V's. This is not a stupid thought, to be honest, because it's quite unusual to see a puzzle where you have loads of X's and V's like this, and there's no negative constraint. So I'm wondering, maybe what we should do is to try and divide the grid into high-low parity. Yeah, let's do that. In fact, let's look at every cell that is part of a V domino. That one is. So all of these cells we know for sure cannot be a digit as high as even 5. They must be either 1, 4 or 2, 3. So these are all very low digits, and we'll highlight low digits in, I suppose I should use I'll use blue and orange for low and high digits, just to keep the colour blindness down to a minimum. Now, yeah, this is good. This is good. Now look at row 3. All of a sudden it's become obvious to me that I've got 2 V clues there. So these are the digits 1, 2, 3 and 4 in some order. So these should all be orange. These are all going to be higher digits. Box 3, I've got the 4 low digits, so those are all high. Ah, look at the X clue. This X clue has a low digit in this cell, i.e. this square is a 1, 2, 3 or 4, so this square has to be high. Ah, and I can do these as well. Those are all low digits. No, low digits, Simon. These are high digits. Nearly. That's a low digit. So what I'm scanning for here is situations where I can see 4 blues in any row, column or box, and I can't. Where is there any? Oh, that's another X digit, so that's got to be orange. Those two are connected. This is another X digit, so that's got to be orange. Ah, and there's some interesting logic there. Look at this cell. This is an X, so this is exactly a blue cell and an orange cell, because we can't make 10 from 2 blues and you can't make 10 from 2 oranges. So this is one of each. Well, that means we've got a virtual set of 4 blues in row 8. One of these two, this one, and this one. So the rest of this row must all be orange. Okay. Is that... Yeah, there's another situation very similar in column 4. One of those must be blue and one of them's orange. So the rest, that gives us 4 in this column. So the rest of this column is all orange. That means this must be blue to complete, because we've now got sort of a W pentomino of high digits in box 2. We've got 5 actually. Sorry, I might have missed that before, but we've got 5 orange digits in row 2. So those two must be blue. That's not the useful digit. This one it'd be very useful to know this was blue. Oh, but this, in fact, this is not blue because I was forgetting about my X in this column. One of these is blue, so we've now got the virtual 4 blues in column 1, which means the rest of this column turns orange. So this is one of each. What now? Can we keep this going? This is actually going reasonably well. This is one of each. Oh, we've got 4 in the central row. Missed that. Those are all orange. This is on an X, so this turns blue. This is on an X, so this turns blue. Oh, we're so close to row 4, look. 26. Can this 26 have... If this has 3 blues in it, they would have to... The most we could make them would be 2, 3 and 4, which add up to... Oh, that's so annoying. Bobbins, bobbins, bobbins. 2, 3 and 4 would add up to 9. Unfortunately, 26 minus 9 is 17, and you can get to 17 in 2 orange cells with 8 and 9. So we can't assume that these are both orange. Oh. It was a good idea, but it's wrong. There's an X there. So this column is finished in the sense we've got 1, 2, 3, and there will be 1 blue in those squares. So those two turn orange. I think I might be running out of steam with this. Can we go any further? 1, 2, 3 here. Don't seem to know very much at all about the bottom row. Sorry about this. I'm stuck. Am I missing something simple? That's the most irritating thing, is when I'm stuck and I'm missing something simple. I don't mind if I'm missing something complicated. Or at least I don't mind so much if that's the case. I'm not seeing anything that good, actually. So what do we do now? Oh, I know one thing I could do, look. If we look at column 5, this is the last blue cell. And we know we've got a 3, 4 in the column, so actually this is a 1 or a 2. Now these add up to 5, so if this is a 1 or a 2, one of these two squares will be a 1 or a 2, which creates a virtual 1-2 pair in these 3 cells of the box. So this square cannot be 1 or 2, but is part of a V. So it's a 3 or a 4. This is a 1 or a 2. What does that mean? It means, I'm sure it means something. I don't know. Maybe I've got to actually, I'm just looking at this V in box 6, and I've noticed that it's seeing 2 V's. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Okay, we might be about to embark on even more colouring. You can see the Mandalorian's helmet already looks like he's lost a game of paintball here, but he might be about to get even more colourful, because this domino is interesting to me, and that's because if this is 1, 4, for example, let's just say this is 1, 4, you can see the implication is quite profound for both of these V clues that see this 1, 4 pair. These would both have to be the opposite form of a V clue. They would both have to be a 2 and a 3. So I'm wondering actually whether I should be trying to do this a bit more with a bit more sophistication. So I'm actually going to make these purple. And I'm going to try and recolor the blue squares. I'll probably use purple and green. So we now know these 2 V's have to not be purple, so we're going to make those green. And now this square, for example, is interesting, because this is not a green, this is not part of the green V now. This must be a purple V. And that is lovely, because these 2 squares form a V, so this cannot be a purple V anymore, because they would both need to be purple. So this is a green V, which means this is purple, which means this is purple, because it's connected by a V. This must be purple. I don't know if this is what we're meant to do, but it's quite fun. Oh, this square, look, sees 2 greens, but it's low, it's blue, so this must be purple. I realise that sentence makes absolutely no sense unless you're actually watching me do this Sudoku. This now must be green. It's connected to a V. This must be green. Now let's carry on with the purples here. This must be green, therefore this must be purple. Can we go further than that? Do we know what this one is? That would be useful, wouldn't it? Yes, we do, because we can carry on. These 2 are green, so this is purple. That gives us 2 purples in column 4. So this one is also green, which means this V can't be green and is purple. So there's a green cell in one of these 2 cells. And what else does it mean? Anything? Yeah, it does mean some things. It does mean some things. Let's ask a question about this square. Is it possible this square is low? Well, the answer is no, because this cell sees 2 purples and 2 greens, so it can't be a low digit, so it must be orange. This domino... Oh, this domino does see a purple. Oh, but we don't know it adds up to 5. Oh, no. Oh, but we do know that one's purple because that sees a V. Okay, that's purple. So that must be green. So, in fact, these don't add up to 5. We know that. Okay, so what do we do now? Have we finished the puzzle? It appears not. What have we learnt here? And is it enough to see us through the puzzle? I feel like we're on the cusp of a breakthrough. I just haven't spotted it yet. One of these two squares has to be purple. So this square is orange. And in fact, which one of these squares is purple? It can't be this one. And we know, sorry, I should go back. Well, the reason I know one of these is purple is I know there's a low digit on this X. And we can see it can't be green and it can't be, well, it has to therefore be purple. But I don't know which one it is until I look at column 5, which says this one can't be purple. So we actually go purple, orange there. Oh, this square is orange, so this must be purple. I don't know how long that's been there for. That finishes off this box, so this is orange. That completes the 34 cage. So the 34 cage doesn't contain 2, 3 and 4. And this square has to be purple to complete the row. Wow, okay. One of these two squares has to be purple, and it can't be in this row because there's already 2 purples. So this is purple. That completes column 1. That's got to be orange. I'm losing track of my colours here. This row is done. Row 7 is done. The rest of it has to be orange. These two, therefore, have to be green. That completes column 7. That's got to be orange. That's on an X. This has got to be green. This has got to be green. That completes this one. This is all orange. We're getting the whole grid done here. This needs one. This has got one of these is green, look. Therefore, one of these is purple. Oh, having just said we've got the whole grid done, I think that's actually stopped. I'm not sure how we disambiguate these last 6 white squares. So now, has this actually helped? Well, it has helped us. We've coloured more of the grid. We've definitely coloured more of the grid. What's it told us about the actual puzzle? So do we have to do things like, I'm wondering whether I can do more of what I did up here, for example. So, for example, this square has to be the higher digit of the purple because we know this is the lower digit. If this is 1 or 2, this has to be, the 3 or the 4, which means this has to be 1 or 2. This has to be 3 or 4. This has to be 1 or 2. This has to be 1 or 2. So, that's interesting. So this has to be 8 or 9. And there's an 8-9 pair now in this box. Well, in this column. Aha! Now look at column... Yes, now look at column 5 and ask where 5 is in the column. 5 can't go here because it's on an X. So it can't be... We'd have to have 2 5s. So the only place 5 goes in the column is here. That looks about as useful as a chocolate teapot, I think. That's annoying. So what are we missing from this column now? We're missing the other. So we're missing 6, 7 from this square. So this is 6, 7. So this is 3 or 4. So this is gorgeous. Look, once you get this cell down to 6 or 7. This square becomes 3 or 4, but it's connected up here by the green V. So this is a 1 or a 2, and now we've got a 1-2 pair in an 11 cage, which means this square is an 8. And that means something. It means... What does it mean? I don't know, is the short answer. This has got to be 3 or 4, because it's opposite a 1 or a 2. This has got to be a 1 or a 2. This 8 must be important somehow, mustn't it? How? Am I missing... This has got to be high, so that's 3 or 4. This is 1 or 2, therefore. This has got to be high, because this is the low part of the purple. So this is 3 or 4. This is 1 or 2. Oh, that's huge. Because this has to be 3 or 4. This is so clever, this puzzle. It's really, really brilliant, because now, once we work out this is the high part of the purple 5 total, this is a low total, and it's a 1 or a 2. So that means this square is 8 or 9, but it can't be 8, so that's 9. This is 1. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. This is going to go through the puzzle like a dose of salts, I think. Look at the work this does. So, for example, it changes. We now know that purple is always a 1-4 pair, and green is a 2-3 pair. So we actually are going to get an awful lot of digits for free here, I think. We can almost just fill in great chunks of the puzzle, I think. 2, therefore this needs to be 3. That's a 2. That needs to be 3. This is a 1-4 pair. We don't know the order. This is a 1-4 pair. We don't know the order. This is 2 and 3. Look, we can use the fact that some of these are connected by x's. So this square now has got to be 6. That means that one's 7. We could have got that from the x up there, but this one is 8, and this is 9. This is a 1-4 pair, so the 1 and the 4 go in. That's connected by an x, so that needs a 6. This x here can't be 1, 9, 2, 8 or 4, 6. This is 3, 7. We probably can resolve that. Can't quite see how. This x here comes into play, gives us the 9. The 4 must be here, which means this square is a 1. That means this is a 9. It's connected by an x again. 7. Oh, we can do arithmetic on row 4 of the grid. We've got a 26. Well, what does this row add up to? Well, it adds up to 45. That's what you get if you add up the digits 1 to 9. Well, these add up to 26, and those add up to 3. 26 and 3 is 29, so this domino adds up to 16. Well, there's only one way of making a domino add up to 16 in 2 cells, and that's with 7 and 9. So these squares have got to be 5, 6, and 8, therefore we've got a 6 here. So this is 6, this is 8, this is 5. That's a 6, that's a 5 by Sudoku. That's a 7. This should be just a write-in. That's a 6, I think. This should be just a write-in. It's a 9. This should be just a write-in. It's a 7. These 2 squares here are 5 and 8. There's probably a way of resolving that. Can't see what it is. Oh, look, these are connected by an x. So we can't have 7, 3 here. So this must be 9, 9, 1. That's a 4, therefore. This becomes a 7. That fixes the 4 and the 1 at the bottom. This domino here looks like it has to be 2, 8, and we can do the order, which means this square here becomes an 8. That fixes the 5, fixes the 8 over there. The 2 and the 3 are fixed. And let's just take a quick stare and see whether or not I've missed. That's a 5, 7 pair, I think, which means we can write in the value of that. That's a 3. That's a 3, because of the 3 already in one of those 2 squares. 6 and 9 can go... I mean, maybe we can just finish the puzzle here. 6, 9... This square's a 7. 5 and 9 now. We can write those in as well. Good grief. These have got to be 4, 5 and 8. 4 goes in the middle therefore because of these 4s. This is a 5, 8 pair. These two squares are 2 and 6. We can do those as well. These squares here are 6, 7 and 8. Ah, that's a 6, 7, 8 triple, which means that's an 8. Don't know if we can finish off the rest of that, but these have got to be 5 and 9, which we can do, which means that square's a 2. Good lord. And we still need 6, 7 and 8 here, so the only place 8 can go in row 3 is in this square. This becomes a 6 or a 7. That finishes the 5, 8 at the bottom. I've just realised I've not even looked at this arrow for ages. The arrow must be about to yield some dividends. Look, in this column we've not placed 7 yet, so that doesn't that need to be at the top? I think it does, and that 7 sees lots of things, including that square. Oh no, it's still not going to resolve. This is a 3, 5 pair. Oh, lovely. This is so weird. So basically, what Quarter Through has done is he's designed the XV puzzle, and the Mandalorian helmet he's used to disambiguate this last part of the puzzle. That's really clever. So hopefully we will be able to prove... Well, so let's add this. We've got to add the grey line up. So we've got 6, 1, 8. So that's 15 plus whatever's in that square. We'll do that later. 19, 28, 40, 46, 56, and 13 is 69. And we need 74. So this square has to be a 5. And that is going to disambiguate the last few skulls of the puzzle and complete the puzzle for us. That is gorgeous. And I think that is how to solve the Mandalorian Sudoku. Let's click check. Yes, that is how to solve it. What a beautiful puzzle that is. That really is very, very clever. I love the way that you sort of have to pick away at the colouring. And initially I went for too little colouring. I went for just 2 colour colouring, and then you have to divide the V's up again in order to, because you can actually make more progress and fill in more of the colours all over the place. It's a beautiful idea, really elegant, and a great theme. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.